Welcome to Honest Convos with Karen.
And Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it.
So, today we are going to talk about how to lead your community, and that can be like a membership or your social media audience, your newsletter, people who are coming to you as the expert and who depend on information that you're providing. We're going to talk about all the nuances that are involved with that because it's difficult. With us as community leaders, I think it's important to understand that there is no wrong way to show up when everything feels like it's burning down, when there's all these atrocities in the world. You don't have to go by a script, you don't have to go by a format, you just have to basically show up and be there, but you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect or construct the exact message that you think people want to hear. Just show up authentically and in alignment. That's what we're here to remind you every single week. The people that you're drawing in and the people that look up to you and respect you, it's because you are providing that realness for them. So, Karen, jump in.
Yeah, no, I love this topic and the setup was perfect. It can feel really heavy when you are supporting people and when people come to depend on you to show up and have something to say and be a visible part of their life, as they're scrolling and coming across your content or they're waiting on that newsletter you're sending every month or every week or whatever cadence or if you have like a membership and you have calls with your members and they may be going through some things that you have to support them through while you're also going through some things, and so it can feel like a lot. What we talk about a lot, like you mentioned, is just being yourself is enough. You don't need to perform and you don't need to put on a mask and you don't need to do special things for people to like you or want to follow you or want to stay in your community, because people will come and go, and that's fine. So I have a automation that every time someone unsubscribes from my email list, it sends an email to this Gmail that I set up, and it says, "Thank you, Karen, for making space for the people who want to be here." And it has like the prayer hands, because it just reminds me like it's okay that they left. This wasn't for them, and they created a space now for someone else to come in. It's an exchange. People come, people go. So it just I used to take that really hard. Like, oh, they must hate me. Like I'm terrible. They didn't like what I said. I'm the worst community leader ever. And so I was like, it's all me. It's because I was focused on myself, obviously, which is the thing you don't want to do, right? It's not really about us, even though we are creating the space and we are leading the space. It's really about who's in the space and what do they need. And what we're providing is usually what they need if they're here, right? So if they're watching your stories, if they're reading your newsletter, if they're showing up on calls, then you're most likely giving them what they need. But it's not our job really to make sure that they take what they need to take. It's our job to just show up and be ourselves and provide whatever it is that we provide as a community leader. And people will take from that what they will. They will come, they will go. So yeah, it's just really important to, I think, not personalize it too much, even though, and it's weird because you're the one creating the community, right? Like, how do I not be, make it about me if I'm the leader, the community members? So it's more about them. So yeah, I think that can help take some of the pressure off if you just like reframe it and just like really think about all you have to do is be yourself and just keep giving, and then they will take what they need from that.
I love that because it's reminding me of the conversation that we had after we had our intention setting call with the Success Secret Society members. We had a loosey goosey format of what we were going to go through. I love myself some structure because the whole ADHD time blindness thing. it was the first one, so, like, take action before you're ready, but obviously have, like, a loose plan. And after the call, Karen and I had a conversation, and she approached it in a very diplomatic way, and she was like, "Can I provide you some feedback?" And I was like, "Of course," because I know as a Sagittarius and a fire sign, like, I can get kind of emotional, and, I'll sometimes be like, "The audacity of somebody to tell me something," but Karen and I are partners, and we actually solidified it. We didn't get married, but we did create an LLC, which is so exciting. Even though we've been partnering up since that first event we did in 2018, the money would come into my company account or it would go into Karen's and then we would split it, whatever. But now we actually have like a formalized LLC. So that's super exciting. Zoom actually provides analytics like how much time you're talking, how much silent space there is, how many filler words you have, that kind of thing, which is pretty cool. She has all the certifications, she's done all the training, she knows how to coach, she knows how to communicate with people. But she was like, you want to have this space where the people are able to get what they need from it, so you don't have to fill everything. But for me, when I get nervous or self-conscious, I find silence to be deafening, and that's definitely something that I'm working on. I've cut down my screen time by like half. Because I was like, "Oh my god, I'm addicted to noise." Like I'm addicted to listening to podcasts or Audible books or checking in on social media, or basically there's just all this external noise. And so when I thought about that, I was like, I need to just shut it down and just be alone with my thoughts, which is horrifying and terrible, but but it's good because then like the real stuff comes to the surface, when you're not getting all of this external feedback. But anyway, so I want to serve. Like I want us to provide the best opportunity for our members. And for me, that meant not making anybody feel awkward or like they were being called on or like that I was forcing them to participate. And so in my mind, I was like, if I just keep talking, then nobody feels that pressure. But now, so like Karen and I are coming up with other things like different practices, like physiological practices that can be done, which I think is super smart because for me, like I'm in my head a lot. And so it's going to actually calm me down. And that's what we love about our members is that we know all of them, our initial round, we know all of them. And we know that they're like, okay, they're just figuring out the kinks. Like that's business owner party people. You have to just try stuff and then iterate. And it's funny because Karen, I didn't do this, and I was like, should I text Karen and get permission? But I was like, I kind of feel like I want to tell the private IG chat, like, hey guys, we're going to be working on the future ones or whatever. And I was like, I don't need to like apologize. I don't need to, like they're going to understand, or they're not even giving it any thought. But it was like getting that feedback from Karen was so good because I know she's just thinking about what's the best scenario for our members. And sometimes you do need that silence because if you're busy listening to what somebody else is saying the whole time, you might not be getting the answers that you need because you need that quiet time. So I did want to thank you, Karen, for like bringing that up because I know it's hard to like have those type of conversations like with friends or partners or any your kids. Really, it's like, oh, they'll figure it out or whatever. But it's easier for somebody who cares about the results, and the impact to be like, hey, are you aware that you're doing this? And it's like, hmm, kind of, but not really. So, but anyway, so it's good. So our next call will be way better.
And no, I appreciate that you were, that how the conversation was able to flow because of the relationship we have and everything. And so I think what you said though was very key is like they probably didn't even notice. Like it's not, and but a lot of times as a community leader, we'll overthink like, oh my God, I said all the wrong things, or oh, I was talking too long, or oh my gosh, they probably felt awkward, or and then they're just la 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 living life, not even noticing any of the things we're like spiraling on, right? So I think that is important. Again, like don't read too much into the impact of maybe what you said or what you wrote or whatever, but you also want to have some intention and some strategy and some using, like Marcia said, some of the tools that you have so that you are creating the experience, or at least trying to create the experience that you want them to have. You, again, can't dictate how they actually experience it, but you can at least put some intention into the environment that you cultivate, whatever that looks like, whether it's your, the way your feed, if someone comes to your Instagram right now, like what, we talked about that in our one of those episodes, and I talked about the rabbit hole, right? Like, what is the rabbit hole that they go down? What is that experience like? How do they get to know you? Like, what do you want that to be? Like, that needs to be intentional. If you're doing like coaching calls for your membership group, what environment do you want to start with? Like, we're going to try like starting with some breath work or some visioning or some sort of meditation. Like, do you want to ground people? You can decide what that experience is going to be like. Now, whether someone likes it, maybe someone freaking hates breath work and they're like, really? She's going to make me breathe? I do that anyway. I don't need to breath work. But you can't control that. So you don't want to spiral or overthink, because everyone, has different preferences. And what I loved because we did start our last call with a little bit of breathing, and Marsha asked, like, is it okay? Would you guys be open to that? And everyone was like, yeah, sure. So you can always do some of that too. Like, you're co-creating. Like, I think that's a good way to think about it. Even though you're the leader, again, to take some of the pressure off, you don't have to like come up with every single idea or overthink every little detail. You can get feedback from your members, whether it's your social media audience, your newsletter, your membership group. Like, you can, like, hey guys, I'm thinking about this for our next call. Or, you could put stuff out on social and just test how do people respond to it, and co-create a little bit more. I feel like we don't do that. That's just like the collective general public, we don't do that as much because we're probably afraid of judgment. Like, oh, she's supposed to be an expert. Why is she asking me? Like, shouldn't you have all the answers? Or we're afraid of failing. Like, everybody hated it. It was a flop. And now it was a public failure. Or we're just kind of afraid it's going to work and people will love it and then we'll have to keep doing it. Yeah. We'll talk about that one in another episode because I think that probably hit some people. They're like, ooh, yeah, that's me. I mean, that's a big one too. Like, I think that even stops a lot of people from even having a community because of the continuity, right? And you have to keep showing up. You have to keep being present. I mean, Marsha and I have a membership. It's a monthly, every month we do things, every quarter we do things, every year we're going to be doing things with our retreats and stuff. So, like, we are committed. And so that can scare some folks, right? Like, I don't want to have to be committed. I don't even know what I'm doing 12 months from now. So you really have to think about a lot of that, because when you have all of that going on, that's going to create a lot of pressure. You're going to have all that pressure coming at you as the leader, and it's going to guide what you're doing. And we don't want pressure to be the driver, right? We don't want pressure driving us down to the crazy path to hell. We want to come at it from the flow, the ease, the intention.
That was so golden. And I think tying what you said earlier about like people leaving your community, that's something you need to keep in mind too. Like, if you do feel like you have been feeding the beast and growing the beast, and it's like, see more, give me more food, the Little Shop of Horrors. And I think that's something that I fall into, and that's what I did with the Charm Cardinals, was I just kept adding and adding and adding value to it, as opposed to spending that time on marketing and getting more members, because it was safe to me. So I kept working on making the community more robust, but then not getting more members in. So a lot of people wouldn't leave. So my attrition rate was like really low. I had people sticking around because there was so much value, but I was like killing myself. I was paving that pathway to hell, which I love. Let's make t-shirts with that say. Stop. It'll be like a stop on it, like, stop paving your pathway to hell. But like, my thing is, I love creation. I love ideation. I love implementing new things. I love testing and seeing the results and everything. But in a membership, especially, like, that has to that can work really well if you are introducing new members, you know? So if you find yourself being a community leader or a membership leader and you're constantly adding more and more things and you feel like, "Oh my god, I can't do this anymore, like it's slowly killing me." You can actually, like Karen was saying, like poll your members, ask them, because maybe you're showing up so many times each month for these different things and it's not really that much of a value add, but it's depleting you so much of energy where you're like, I don't even know if I want more members because I can't maintain this, you know? So look at your numbers, and if people are staying, like that's the whole beauty of a membership is you're getting that recurring revenue, you know, so you're able to like keep the lights on. That's the beauty of a membership, but just don't make it be where it's um it's too much for you. So what's that bringing up for you, Karen?
Really, I just keep coming back to that pressure. Yeah, it's like because like even with you like talking about adding new features and just keep adding, and I got to keep making sure it's valuable so they stay, even though they were already staying, right? Like it's that fictitious pressure that we put on ourselves because we're like, okay, I have to. I have to be enough. I have to do enough. I have to, and I have to be on because I know that that can be a big thing. I think we talked about that maybe in a boundaries episode, but like being on and available all the time, like being on social media constantly, being emailing daily, like that. I mean, a lot of coaches will have different, or gurus, I'm gonna call them purus, but they'll have like all these different, like you have to email daily, you have to email at least once a week, or you have to email monthly. I mean, I am probably one of the most infrequent emailers that exists. But I still have a pretty good open rate. It's like 60%. So, I mean, when I do show up, people seem to still engage. So, I just completely removed that pressure. I was like, I'm not going to email unless I have something to say. So, if I don't have nothing to say, I'm not just going to make up stuff so that I can show up and remind you that I exist in your inbox every, day or every week. We get to make our own rules and take some of the pressure off. Yes, there are some best practices. Yes, if you're trying to hit certain numbers in your business, if you're trying to grow, if you're in a phase where you're like really focused on growth, then that's going to dictate a little bit of a different strategy. Like if I have a promotion going on, I'm probably showing up more often in your box, right? Those are some things to think about, but like your normal maintenance mode can be less pressure, more ease and flow, more of you just showing up honestly, being yourself, putting out the experience that is in alignment with what you want your community to be. And I know, again, we keep saying this throughout, but we just want to make sure, like, when we're saying community, that can be anywhere that you have a gathering of people who are looking to you as the leader of that space, whatever that is. If it's your social profiles, if it's your email list, if it's a membership that you run, a school group, like whatever form that is, that's what we mean when we say community. So, yeah, I think it's important to just be yourself and show up in the way that feels good to you because you have to keep doing it. Like, again, you are going to have to commit. You're going to have to be in, all in when you create a community. And even on social, I mean, thinking about a social profile, if you ghost, I'm raising my hand, then that affects the community that you've built or that you were trying to build. You'll either not be able to reach them because the content won't get shown, or they'll leave because they're like, oh, I guess she's not active anymore, she hasn't posted in a year. Ask me how I know. Your numbers will go down. So you do have to commit. When you go in, you have to go all in, you have to be committed, but you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do it in a way that feels like a lot of pressure. You don't have to try tactics and put on shoes that don't fit. Like you can do it in the way that works best for you.
Yeah, I love the messaging that we're sending here. It's like, know that you're a leader, own that responsibility, and show up, but show up as you are. Not perfect, just who you are, what it is that you're impacting people with. Like if you're a fitness person, show up with fitness tips, you know. You can filter in some of the things that are happening in the world, you know, like maybe like especially with fitness, like okay, if you're having lower back issues, that might be a stress thing, you know, here's some exercises, you know, that's a way that you can incorporate like what's actually happening in the world and just how it might affect your members or audience or whatever. Speaking of like pushing out content and everything, we do have our next reset coming up. It's going to be the Reset and Rise Fall edition. That's going to start on Monday, September 8th. And so we are going to have a fast action bonus for anybody that participates in that reset and then applies to be a member during open enrollment for the Success Secret Society. Open enrollment is September 15th through the 30th. So we'll have 2 weeks where you can get your application in if you want to join us for fourth quarter. The fast action bonus is a implementation kit for booking your own solo retreat. We're going to provide you like a more robust kit where it'll have actual like links to products. We'll have a personalized guided meditation like during your retreat, you know, you can ease into it, but then also have framework that you can go through for like marketing, revenue, lead gen, that kind of thing. That's what we have coming up, which I'm super excited about because Karen and I have been talking about our strategy for getting the information out because, you know, we love our community, but we are adding these things in to attract more people because we want our society to grow. Like as we solidify some of the things that we've been doing, and we've been getting that feedback on what's working well and you know the satisfaction from our members. So we want to grow this thing, so we're being strategic with our lead gen. And it's funny, I told Karen before we recorded, I'm like, yeah, I started to create the opt-in checklist, but I started it in Canva and it just was so overwhelming to me. So then I opened a Excel doc and I just had all these tabs like resources, links, schedule, time frame, creature comfort items to bring, you know, and doing it that way, like that's what works well for me. So like I need to have like a spreadsheet, I need to have like all these different tabs, and then we'll work on making it beautiful. But it's funny because when I went on that one night retreat, Karen, I had my Adidas book bag and I had my rolling thing, and I'm like, that's what I brought to Italy for 9 days, and I brought it for one night, and I'm like, and then I still have my big ass like 3M wall memo sticky thing. So I'm like, I have so much baggage, but like I wanted to have everything, you know? So anyway, so you'll learn from like what I overdid, how to make your first retreat so good. But getting away and looking at your business, working on your business in that way, like especially if you do run a membership, you know, it can provide you clarity. Like maybe I should try to phase this out because it is, you know, the pathway to hell. Okay, so go to honestconvospodcast.com/VIP, and that will get you on our newsletter, and then you'll receive more information about the Reset and Rise Fall Challenge.